Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. The U.S. economic numbers under Donald Trump are now going from bad to worse.
22,000 jobs added in the month of August. That was much less than the expectation of 75,000 guys.
There's no way to sugarcoat this. This jobs report is brutal.
It's not good. What is it showing us? What we know, the economy is slowing.
That 22,000 number, Charles, it's a weaker than expected number, and these revisions are pretty brutal.
Yeah, extraordinarily,
Extraordinarily brutal. And that's from Fox Business News, which is Donald Trump's chief financial news propaganda network. But the jobs numbers were so bad that even the usual Trump sycophants could not spin anything positive.
We've lost jobs again in the professional business service sector. We've lost jobs in this report in the temporary help sector, which is not a good sign. So there's a lot of concern. Even though the private payroll number is 38,000, that is still a pretty weak number. And we've been struggling in manufacturing and in construction, in professional and business services. That's where we need to get this economy back on track and see some of that job growth coming in the future.
But right now, the economic indicators are not good. And another Fox Business guest blamed Donald Trump's chaotic tariff policy.
Make no mistake, this is a weak jobs report, and I can't help but think it would be helpful if we got a lot of this trade-related uncertainty out of the way.
Another Fox guest pointed to the Trump administration's DOGE workforce cuts and said, if you think the jobs numbers are bad now, just wait.
The things that have been done, vis-a-vis DOGE, for example, you're going to see the government numbers get worse as you move through the balance of this year because you've got that 75K plus that took the deal that's going to hit the numbers over the next several months here. You're seeing healthcare slow down. You're seeing education slow down. So, yes, that's happening right now.
And that Fox Business guest also ripped the Trump tariffs.
I also think you do need to temper the temperature on the tariffs. Companies are paying for the tariffs. They're seeing it come through in margin pressure. And this is adding some net downside to hiring decisions as well.
The upside to the tariffs, according to the Trump administration, was that they would trigger more U.S.-based manufacturing. No.
Manufacturing employment changed little, down 12,000, down 4 months in a row, down 78,000 over the year.
On CNBC, the top-line news came in a style that was matter-of-fact and succinct.
Payrolls rising 22,000 in August. That's less than expected and a further sign of a hiring slowdown. Joining us this morning with first reaction from the White House, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. Kevin, welcome back. Happy Friday.
Oh, great to be here, guys.
Kevin Hassett didn't look very happy. Still, the top Trump economic advisor argued that the numbers will get better in the future because the Bureau of Labor Statistics generally adjusts its summertime data.
This jobs number was certainly a little bit of a disappointment right now, but one of the things, there was a Goldman Sachs study that came out yesterday that showed that because the BLS hasn't really done a good job on its seasonal adjustment in August, that they tend to revise this number up by almost 70,000 jobs.
On another CNBC program, Trump Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick pointed out that Donald Trump recently fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And Lutnick said the future BLS head will be able to remove employees who have a political agenda.
I think they'll get better because he'll take out the people who are just trying to create noise against the president. Take out the people trying to create noise. Let's get the accurate numbers because this is going to be the greatest growth economy, right? 6 months from now, a year from today.
But right now, the economy is sputtering and slowing down. So the Federal Reserve is expected to cut interest rates to try and goose the economy. Donald Trump and investors on Wall Street have been pleading for a rate cut for months, and the expectation that it will now happen in the wake of the awful jobs numbers caused the stock market averages on this day to go up. However, the Fed is going to be cutting interest rates because of overall economic weakness, as Stephanie Rule noted on MSNBC.
The economy's slowing. So Donald Trump and the market are going to get what they want, a rate cut. But they want a rate cut when things are steady. We're going to get a rate cut because the economy is slowing. That is the reality that we're living in. And Howard Lutnick can say, oh, you're going to like the number 6 months from now. When you bring in a Trump ally and cook the books, it doesn't change reality. Things cost more. And the tariffs are making business more difficult in the United States of America. That's our reality.
And it's a reality that is so stark and so clear that never mind MSNBC and CNBC, even Fox Business News is acknowledging the jobs numbers now are terrible. By the numbers, to find a labor situation and employment data this awful, you have to go back 4 years ago to the COVID-19 pandemic. The bottom line is that the U.S. economy, which recovered and was roaring at the end of the Biden administration, is now slowing down and faltering under Donald Trump. And there is no escape from the bad news, even for the Trump cheerleaders on Fox. By the way, Donald Trump's Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is stumbling over her lies and is getting called out.
I won't speak to the specifics of the operations that are planned in other cities, but I do know that LA wouldn't be standing today if President Trump hadn't taken action. Then that city would have burned down if left to the devices of the mayor and the governor of that state.
California Democrat Robert Garcia.
Obviously, I mean, Los Angeles, besides having seen decreases over the last 10, 20, 30 years overall in crime, the fact that LA wouldn't have been standing had Donald Trump not intervened is a fabrication. All they do is they look at the TV and they lie.
Check out that story at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from FLB, who wrote, "If Noem doesn't want people laughing at her, then she should stop acting like a clown." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump tanking the U.S. jobs market so sharply that even Trump's cheerleaders on Fox are calling it extraordinarily bad. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.